14-7 win for Astralis over NiP. The last time that a single team was able to get more than 10 rounds versus Astralis on Nuke was back in July. So it's just been convincing victories from Astralis, regardless of their T side, CT side, does not matter. But this is a fast one, and Astralis, like stars, fly through the sky and suddenly are looking to overwhelm Lekro outdoors. He's down. Device with an opening kill and a little bit of a push from NiP up into the locker rooms. They have gone. Astralis caught Dennis. Nice little corner. He's able to blindside with a headshot, and that's exactly what's trickling in. Headshots aplenty. Bomb's been thrown out into the open, and Astralis, they're fighting to maintain this, but then just as they do, in a near second, everybody picks up some kills.
They ran out of patience. They had a standoff. It was going their way. They were 3-3, and then somebody dies in heaven. Everything falls apart. Pulled the string off the ball of yarn, and Astralis actually win that pistol. I was gonna think, like I was gonna say, like obviously one of the first steps for NiP in the best of one to do this. You know, you've got to pull out all the stops if you're gonna want to be the first person to beat Astralis on land on Nuke after this streak, right? This is, and it's gonna start with pistols. It's not gonna come without at least one.
Patience. That right there. That double kill from Device is pure patience.
He waited.
Bomb was thrown out into the open and everything.
He postured up, held his position, and then they ran past, and one of them actually died to somebody in heaven, so unaccounted for frags. Good running grenades as they take upstairs. There's not actually any CTs here at all. Will be a deagle kill. Get Right gets traded simultaneously, and a ton of ADR for Forrest that he won't know about until the end of the match.
Yeah, this is wild. He's actually tagged up so many players. Regardless of the best efforts, they've decided to eject from the A-bomb site, even though the CTs are flying up through heaven. It is not going to matter because the bomb is planted on B. Now, of course, NiP realizing it, have come downwards. Dennis first contact towards Device. And this is just trying to buy some time, but in the meantime, we've already got other casualties. Poor NiP not finding much more than those first 2 kills.
Every single time he shot those bullets, it was a pre-fire. It was totally psychological. When the scout peeks, like it's a literal mind game when it comes down to those like one-on-one situations where it's just you and the other guy. Very simple fight. But what's really cool is just because of the verticality of the map, Nuke is obviously the only map that really has this other than Overpass, but even on Overpass it's not truly stacked, and where that comes into play most is when players drop vents, like we saw in this round, where they were having a lot of players come up on them from the flank and then from heaven, and when it came down to the 3v3, you can always just evacuate. Get dropped down the vents. If you don't think anyone played lower that round, you can totally reset the situation, force them to go for a brand new type of retake, and if anyone comes down the vent afterwards, they are definitely going to get killed if anybody is left there watching the ladder. So that's what Astralis liked, and that's a really fun and interesting part of Nuke and your options as a T coming out. Another eco. And this time, Astralis decide to go outside. Last round when we saw them go for a fast upward with running grenades, blowing out Squeaky. And Dennis somehow wins a medium range distance USP battle with an armored opponent.
He'll take it, I'm sure. It's a little something to slow down this outer yard play, but Astralis have gotten a man downstairs. And so I believe Device should be left to his own devices, at least long enough to get some information, but the only info he knows is that his brains have been scattered on the back wall. Lekro just blows him to pieces. And in the meantime, Astralis work their way down ramp. So even though Device has been lost, and the weapon too, now it's Get Right to strike from the corner. The element of surprise. And ZipX, he has a full bar of HP, now having dealt with that dropped weapon and equalizing things into the 2v2. They know that there's a man in the outer garage, so Glaive, he just wants to get downstairs, find ZipX, play side by side. The buddy system saves lives.
And so with the bomb going down, the only problem is it's going to be incredibly hard to watch everything, and so Forrest is here in a position where he can peek from both sides. There's at least a smoke for him to plant, so Glaive can think about holding vents or anybody rotating in. Instead, he's actually walking back into the site, so I think they're playing for control. And Glaive goes ahead and gets the first kill. So Dennis, as lethal as he was, he still only got this USP.
I mean, he's a good pistol player, but he shouldn't be versus rifles. Done. Instantly. Rounds the corner and gets put to sleep. So Astralis convert for the full 3 start.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. And those are both rounds, though, that NiP had the advantage, even in the eco, for at least a second. So you think maybe they could have been able to pull it together. And it does start with everybody communicating that they have that advantage, and that even though there might be an opportunity here, might make sense to let the bomb go down. One of the rules of thumb in CS is like, if you have a 2v4 and you're on ecos and like the T's have to plant the bomb, that means there's going to be a 4-second window where one of those players can't move and you know where they are and they can't shoot. So if you want to rush them, it's like a 4v1 all of a sudden, and that can be a free win. Smokes outside. Very infamous smokes from Astralis. They use these the best. They've actually crossed a couple of players lower, and it doesn't seem like NiP have made a proper answer for this. I don't think they actually realize that somebody may have gone lower unless they preemptively done that. Our number 3 man potentially is he's at the back of the site. Strongest position to hold the site from as a solo player, but a lot of choke points to watch.
We'll see if his attention shifts now that the kills come in elsewhere. Glaive and Magis making quick work of the outer players, taking back a man advantage, and now joining Device downstairs. Rez still up on the catwalk, will have cover, possibly the element of surprise. He's shrouded in secrecy, and hopefully not soon blanketed in bullets, but he could certainly pound them back the other direction if this goes unchecked. The problem being, if he's the last man up, then it's just a matter of trade fragging outwards, and the rest of his team have died one after another. Dennis comes in off of the ramp, and this is just going to eject bomb back up towards A. Rotation so important on Nuke.
Unbelievable. That's totally gamed the system right there. They used Zipex to get the information and to bait everyone to going into lower, so they didn't wait for a reaction. They were ready to go to hit upper, and that puts Dennis in a pretty okay position. He's here in heaven. You can kind of see into the site. Magic's gonna, well, it looks like a 50-50 and goes down. 2v2 now.
Dennis swapping out the weapons, closing that distance. Glaive's going to be caught into the open as well. He's looking towards vents. This is an excellent retake coming out from NiP. Zipex has to clutch, and Dennis denies. Beautiful headshot. Excellent 2v4.
All 4 kills. Unreal. He's
Sorry, 1v4. That's all Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, Rez is even the one who's downstairs, who helps solidify for Astralis that they're going to go upstairs. And he gets the kill on Zipex, goes in for the retake, hits Magis on the site. That was a really nice way that he peeked from that high-low position. And, you know, I set that up so to talk about the potential for a retake. But here, this is, you know, unbelievable how clean he is with each of these engagements. All these headshots instantly. And Glaive had his attention taken away from him as well. So Rez might have done something there to pull him into watching the event.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, not sure what he did, but it worked.
That was just Dennis taking the responsibility, but certainly having Rez help him out in the situation. When you're out of the play like that, when you're down inside of the vents, it's really cool to see him actually still find an impact, some way of helping out.
Yeah, normally that'd be like really hard. Like, what can you even do? But
yeah. So, smooth moves. And all of a sudden, with NiP being on the board, they found themselves another 5v4. However, what's scary to think is Astralis have a 42.3% win percentage in 4v5s on Nuke. Nearly half of the time, this first death won't cost them.
A tremendous stat line. So Dennis from the turnpike with a smoke. I think, did he refresh it or not? It looks like he actually hung on to it for a second, so he might be able to delay a bit. Rez checking on his teammate's screen now. Astralis put pressure.
Yeah, make sure he focuses on his. He's spotting shoulders. Continues the spam in the off chance that there is another player there, which there is. In fact, more than one. So there was. They've all just joined up inside lobby. They don't have a frag grenade to blow open the door, but luckily it was already done. So it is just that volley of utility to go past. They will try to fly themselves down vent. Get right does not get any angle. That was a nice position. Looked like he could have just skimmed their heads, but it goes unspotted, and so the plant uncontested in a 3v5 they have.
They had no idea.
And because they had no idea, there's enough time for positions to be taken up. I mean, look at Zipex go. He's going to be right up in the face of this ramp push. If the other Ts can draw the attention past him, then Zipex could just blindside, but nobody's there, and Lekro clears close. It looks like Astralis just bailed on Zipex, left him to his own devices. As it is he and Dupree over towards Decon. Door swung wide, right into the face of Device. Dupree trades effectively, back into the 1v2, but it's through the door, he's dead. Rez gets the headshot, and the defuse should just come in.
That was actually really sick from Rez. Oh my god,
No.
Does he have it? He's gonna go ahead and down to the last second, and it blows up. Can you believe that?
It looks so smooth, no kit. Rez has a kit. Dennis should not have stuck bomb.
Oh my god. There's no excuse for that.
I knew there was a kit, so I assumed the defuse was there, but it was on the wrong player.
Did
Kusta V2.
Did Dennis hold that without communicating that he doesn't have a kit? Does Rev have a kit? Did he check the... He wasn't... If he's... You know, the only way to justify that is if he's not within 5 seconds of getting to him. But he was right there, right?
He was on the bomb site. Rez traded from the other side of Silo.
Yeah, he did set trade from the other side of Silo. Maybe he thought, I have it no matter what.
Yeah, don't worry. I've got this defuse.
Oh my gosh. We're back in Spain.
That's tough because... Just like that, Astralis up onto the 4th. NiP clearly shattered in terms of economy. Fast round out of Astralis, already picking up kills, the casualties, and the heartbreak for NiP. Within half a second, that defuse changes the next 3 rounds.
This is not how you get a map versus Astralis on Nuke, unfortunately, but interesting play. I mean, just to talk about the positives a little bit. At the very least, one thing that was cool was on that previous round, they had the late snacks drop. I always call it the snacks drop because he was just the very best at it. Throwing that smoke down, getting down the vent every round, somehow not dying to nades, somehow not getting sprayed through the smoke. And they got 3 players down. And we saw Get Right playing Fur, which was the spot that I call that Fur because I'm not sure what everyone else calls it, but Mustang behind him for where you're covering yourself from the rafter. And his angle was just a little bit too acute that he couldn't see anybody running out of Squeaky. I'm surprised he didn't hear them, though. And that allowed NiP at Astralis to get in a situation where the bomb goes down so early that it does come down in the last few seconds, right? So there is at least that to point out as a positive for Astralis with an interesting late-round Squeaky play.
If you want another positive for Astralis here, remember
it.
On their 5v4 win percentage, we're talking 84%.
That's a lot.
So in this scenario right here, NiP, the numbers do not lie.
Nearly 80 is about as good as it gets
for
top teams, and 84 is obviously exceptional. Not surprised Astralis holds that number.
We'll see if we can get NiP to chip away at said statistics, but whoa, Dennis and Get Right combined for 4. The auto shotty and Lekro get it done. So stats out the window. That's just all too smooth.
That was a little weird because Dennis should have... I don't want to take anything away from NiP. That was a clean hold. The noob tube coming through. Yeah. I actually don't. That's just what I call it, by the way. Like, I'm not saying like noobs use the auto shotgun. It's probably one of the best weapons you could have on upper, and he delivered with 2 headshots, and Dennis did his part as well. But typically, when you have protocols for where you look when you come out of Squeaky or when you come out of hut, top hut is like at the top of the list for either your first or second man. Depends on your team. But I'm surprised that he let 2 players run by. Neither of them checked, and he killed the 3rd player coming out the door when they knew they weren't going to molly top hut.
This has been really fast rounds, Launders. I feel like we've been getting into 5v4 situations either way within like the first 10 seconds of a round.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of kills coming out early on, and NiP started this off with a man advantage. Just 3 up now for Astralis. And to follow up on that last round, Get Right collected some big money from those shotgun kills, so economy's going to come right back.
Ooh, I like this position from Lekro. Obviously, you have no info, and you're just assuming somebody comes in, but if that were the case, they are going to be caught off guard. And when you have a 5v3, I feel like you can give up a little bit of an informational position.
Oh. Whoa.
But then, in this case, it does put Get Right into a bit of a pickle. Luckily, Forrest down beneath on the bomb site can lock it down with 2. Give us the 3rd. No, Dennis takes it, but still superb. NiP locked down the A site twice.
That was more than enough. Really good fragging there from Forrest. A couple of whiffs both ways, though. Like, whoever was shooting at Forrest from heaven, like, that was, you know, maybe 10, 12 bullets that missed a little bit, and then Get Right fluffed his spray on the player who came in heaven in the first place. Kind of strange. Not exactly sure what's going on at the moment, but yeah, he really did capitalize.
So here we go. Astralis, broken, battered, and bruised, holding only pistols. Again, they're going to fixate on this outer yard. I feel like this has been the story of this T side.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of outside presence. Remember, folks, he can't see. He doesn't. They don't have the X-ray.
And because of that, you see what happens. Falls off thinking he can throw some utility, and then suddenly, Zipex bursts through. And now Zipex actually has a gun, so Astralis could be fighting for another frag. Bomb's going to even come join Zipex. They just need to get onto the site. If they get a plant here, that's a win in their books, because a little extra cash goes a long way.
Yeah, certainly not a moot point. Forrest, can he deny that plant? He can, but I guess he wants to just wait for his teammates, ensure that they win this round. Fair play to him. Oh my gosh.
Missed shots, now he's spotted out and therefore follows suit. That's multiple examples in this round of just how you know, we're anticipating a certain gunfight to happen. We expect it in a second, and then at that moment someone changes weapons, puts their gun away. So Forrest caught off guard there. Would have been a beautiful headshot had he picked it up, but
nice control of his weapon by Zipex. Something a lot of Counter-Strike players don't talk about that's like a really commonplace in Quake is just like displacing your aim. So you're always going to aim better when your mouse is where you rest your hand, like as soon as you like walk up to your computer and put your mouse on your hand on your mouse. That's where you aim the best. Like the few degrees from left to right where you start playing Counter-Strike from, that's where you aim the best. So as soon as someone has to like do a wide swipe and then do a micro adjustment, that's like considered like a very displaced aim, and it's going to be a lot harder to like get kills doing that. And that's why it's always so impressive to see someone like hit a flick or hit a spray after a wild transfer.
Whoa, fast one. Magisk in off of the flashbangs. He hasn't been able to get a kill, but still, he will take down Forrest. There's Dennis back as he falls in from the heavens, and the rest of Astralis haven't really been able to get out with Magisk. They were delayed slightly, and so they fall off. Despite getting that man advantage, they're not able to do anything further.
Wow, they just kind of like axed the rush after they went out, just 1 for 1 and into an instant reset, but they've expelled so much utility. They went all in on that in a sense, but at the same time, NiP aren't holding on to that much as well. They've only got a single Molotov and a couple of flashes, so it feels like the advantage is still in Astralis' hands right now. What do they do from here? Zipex has been this periphery player where he's gotten so much information on his own, kind of from the outside. And the other round we saw him use his alert to lower to assist his teammates in going upstairs. Here they're trying to feign a vent drop, but the smoke's not good enough.
This is a cohort of 3 terrorists moving down ramp. They do still have that one over towards the secret stairs. Rez very much exposed inside this bomb site, but his teammate has control of the only door really on him. So Rez with the trigger discipline. Now he's going to fire off. Can't get the second with the spray down. And it's going to leave it on both Lekro and Dennis. Coming in from the same direction. Locked out the first. The second goes past. 1v2 for Dennis. Device and Glaive on the other side, and they've got the advantage of being above him. He'll try to burn somebody out into the open, but there's nobody there. They're holding on top of the catwalk. Using that verticality to their advantage. Device gets the element of surprise, and Astralis back with a 6th.
A solid try, man. Like, Rez had that trigger discipline. He almost hit the spray transfer. There was no easier way for him to set up those 2 kills. He was going to have to do, like, a really difficult spray transfer. So, you know, a good effort by him. I like that he was, like, really patient about it. That was definitely probably the best play he could have made. Astralis overall, they kept their options open. I liked how they tethered off of Zipex when he was outside, and they used him to scout for lower, and while everyone was stationed ready to hit upper, and based on their game plan off that, I think for NiP it looked like they gambled, but from their perspective they knew a lot.
Again, fast clash. Look at them go straight out onto the A site. It's traded thanks to Dupree and Device. Magisk having been turned away 2 rounds in a row. And Astralis are just keeping up this suffocating pace, but they have been wrapped in. I mean, we've got Forrest over towards mini side, Rez attempting to attack from behind. And Astralis, they're just going to buy their time. They don't have to express the plant. They get it in, but once everyone is already inside corners and watching every which way, they had guns out and kind of challenged NiP to go for the peak, to run through smokes, which have now been refurbished, but Device spots Rez. And I don't know how Rez gets out of this position. I mean, he's already been figured out. And so, yeah, there you have it. It's the save.
They forfeit off that. And as we can see, like, in Counter-Strike, whenever a team is, like, leaving a site early, it's if the kills come out too quickly and nobody can get in a position to, like, find a frag, afterplant can just be so hard to deal with that it's better to think about next round. One of the reasons we highlighted that you mentioned, Moses was talking about Astralis and how they're, like, they're
so willing
that
to
aspect.
save.
Yeah, they're always willing to save. and just wait for the next round to try again.
It feels like they're putting a level of importance on just 1 or 2 guns more so than anybody else, right? Like they value those weapons more than anybody. They'll let rounds slip.
It's obviously good to see, you know, NiP knowing when the battle is lost. Got to pick your fights for sure. And because things roll over, that's the kind of the beauty of Counter-Strike. It makes it interesting. You can think about next round and not just the round that you buy the gun in. So we've got a pretty busted buy. They did save a couple of weapons. Force is also bleeding out. And literally immolated.
Burnt to a crisp. Puts a lot of pressure on Lekro as well. You can see the number 4 man, Get Right, trying to come support towards Mini. He also wants the gun.
Get Right did not grab that smoke.
Ooh. We'll see if that comes back to bite him. Right now, there's smokes on the cross, and Astralis, they always do this silently. This is one thing with Astralis. Whether or not they use this wall of smokes to cross or not, they'll always walk. Because if you don't decide to cross behind them, then you're not going to make any noise because you're not there.
They always have to guess.
If you do decide to cross, exactly. It's the guessing game. And Get Right's been allocated downstairs, so now it is confirmed that somebody did come in his direction, but the numbers is the still question. How many? It's 4, in fact. And Get Right falls further back towards construction. He'll go. He's looking to lock off control, but even though he hits the headshot, AK won the better. A 4v3, turn 2. Zipex with another kill, and this looks like it could be another save call because they've got an AK back behind. Or do they double up? No, that's no longer an option.
Just Lekro now, and the protocols are so clean. They go to clear out control room, and they make it look extremely simple, but it's really just about like how the spacing is so nice. When they throw that Molotov, all 3 players run over, make sure that they clear the second set of stairs by the vents, and then once they do that, they can kind of peel off. They actually ganged up on Get Right, so even though Get Right like lined it up really well, had good crosshair placement, hit their first bullet, and the AK comes out on top, there's a player right behind them that wins their duel, and they're already up a man anyway, so Astralis just gave themselves so many ways to win. If Get Right was going to play the stairs in the way that he did, he had no chance to have a fight that was very favorable for him. They shoved him into an angle they knew he was going to play in, and then they killed him. It's going to be pretty demoralizing to have to deal with that.
Yeah, we're now running into a momentous T-side here from Astralis. One more round and they are officially on fire. And looking at the state of the funds for NiP, it's not going to be a fun one.
I think if he had that smoke that he didn't pick up, you could have had a situation where he might have had at least another option. Because if you, let's say the Molotov goes down, like you're dry running with your team, right? You don't really talk about what happens if they throw a smoke here, or if the smoke lands on this side. Most of the time you're like, all right, we Molotov the guy's stairs, and then we push him back into this position, and then we can come on and encroach on them. And the dry run's easy. You don't have another team in the server. You're just doing it yourself. Well, there, you know, if you really want to set a team off that is super insistent on everything going their way, and you throw like a random smoke, they don't know how to deal with it, then maybe you set yourself up to do something creative that can actually catch them off guard. Another outside bust. No, it's sorry, upstairs, but instead it's Zipex just to sneak down the vent. And Rez gets a kill, so that actually keeps it interesting, even though a fair bit of information is traded hands at this point.
Yeah, again, whether better or for worse, you're getting these really fast clashes from Astralis. This time it does cost them a man advantage. Clearing the corners downstairs, Dennis in one of them. I'm sure this silence is eerie because you're not sure at what point either of those doors are just going to suddenly burst open. In reality, there's nobody there. And we have Astralis actually using this time, this element of tension, to clear elsewhere. So while NiP are just holding and preparing for a push, Astralis are using this chance, this illusion, to go for info.
Now Rez just posted on his angle. Because they have Dennis downstairs, they don't feel the urgency to make any sudden movements, and now Rez has been spotted, but he's also spotted someone. That's going to allow NiP to adjust accordingly.
Oh, that's nice, Rez. He's gotten both the kills so far this round, single-handedly taking them down. Astralis to a 3v5. Give us just one more. At least one more.
Make it a clip. Why not?
It's not an order without the fries. Lekro heading downwards before Dennis dies. He's got the support, but he has to reload. That's timing. Timing right in and of itself. Glaive with a double kill, and then a third. Glaive dies to get right. Collateral headshot. You love it.
You'll love to see that. Oh my goodness. Don't know how that happened. Obviously, the situation just got too crazy to follow closely, but man, the Beast Eagles from Rez and then the double spray down from Get Right.
It's beautiful. It goes two ways, right? You see Dennis being overwhelmed by the sudden door opening, and then that's how Get Right gets his 2 kills. Opens the door behind them, so it goes both ways.
It's true. Wow. That was extremely clean. Did a great job creating chaos. And the other thing was that they lost these man advantage eco rounds in the past. And it seems a little crazy, but it doesn't seem like anyone's going to do anything. They just want to bait out those Molotovs from upstairs, so if they want to rush later on, now they have this option. And even if they don't do that, they know that the upstairs players don't have Molotovs. There's a certain amount of other situations where they can't be useful.
You're just putting NiP into a position that you're aware of.
There it is. Look how many things they're throwing out of their playbook, right? Very simple stuff, but hey, we rushed round 3 rounds in a row. We rushed upstairs 3 rounds in a row. Hey, we walked secret a couple of times too. Are you going to guess that we're not going to do that this time? Or are you going to use a lot of your bullets, a lot of your attention, a lot of nades to make sure that we're not calling a bluff?
Yeah, look how close Dennis is downstairs. I mean, he has to lock it down, and just like that, they come wildly out from Squeaky Door. This is a full-on A-hit. Get Right from above, strikes death. Like a guardian angel, he's locked down this A site. Near single-handedly. Lekro comes in with 2. Dennis clears the board. That was so nice.
Oh my god, that's another round that we've seen that was like 5 alive and the last person dies outside right after.
Yeah.
It was pretty much Groundhog Day.
That's the 2nd or 3rd time NiP have just decimated on the A site. And Get Right's consistently been up here. I'm not sure. It's just so hard to check.
They're not looking, and that's why Fur always played this spot, because even though it was a blind spot that caused players to be able to sneak down the vent, for him, if they come upper, he doesn't have to worry about them coming out of Squeaky until they are halfway across the site, and then they have to check up there. But yeah, it seems like the top of the hub position and in the Raptors has been way too powerful versus Astralis. I'm kind of surprised.
See if they deal with this in what is their final attempt at a T-side win. 7-8 would still be great for NiP. I mean, not on a map like Nuke, some would say. I think they'd be happy with this result. Astralis a beast. But this one's not over yet. Dupree still has something to say. He's got Device by his side. Kills continue to trickle in. Not even that much damage goes back the other way either. The rotation from NiP is going to be all in on ramp. Bombs planted behind Silo, so that's not going to give them any line of sight, and Dupree gets out of the sight just in time. Now Device, he's still anticipating something down from vents, and eventually his position is just going to be so useless. He cannot contest the bomb site. In fact, neither of them can contest this bomb site until they go over to this double door, swing that wide open and try to contest. But remember, bomb's planted on the other side, so they could sneak off this defuse. There's no way to get right out, I don't think. It's a smidgen of an angle, and he's got the cover of smoke. A Molotov way too late. And Astralis, they just flubbed an afterplant.
Oh my god, dude, Astralis are in a little bit of a weird spot, I feel like, mentally, because it seems like they're missing stuff. You know, like not clearing certain, like, you come upstairs and you don't clear top height, you don't clear rafters. Like, that usually doesn't happen, especially if you're able to get like 2 people fully out of the door. But I'm not exactly sure why that is the case. Maybe it is that Get Right has been in those positions unexpectedly. Maybe when they, you know, studied for this, they expected that the upper site would be played differently, and NiP have had a good game plan going into it. That's stuff that we don't know about, obviously. Yeah. So there could be a lot of credit to NiP that we can't actually like be certain about. That being said, NiP got 7 rounds, you know, in total. They look solid on some of those. They literally had 5 alive on versus gun rounds on some of those rounds, and now we have another upper rush to start the pace off top.
Really quick one. Glaive just pops 2 noggins. Get Right, Lekro dead. Bomb thrown out as well, so things are now slowed down ever so slightly. Magis comes to help, and Glaive is still just running around. It's ring around the rosy for a 3rd kill from him. Device the last, and a pistol for Astralis.
Wow, that was a pretty easy cleanup, and it's two more pistols. They actually won the last 2 in the map earlier, and now they're on Nuke on their 4th pistol win of the day. So that's going to make things a whole lot easier, even if you have some rounds that maybe didn't go your way and you kind of want to think about why. But Glaive with a sigh of relief, obviously just takes so much tension off of this half. They're now 7 rounds away from actually winning. NiP uphill battle as they pick up some deagles, a couple of CZs. Scour the map. looking for mistakes. But why should they push, Connor?
Yeah, exactly, right? Just sit back and relax. This is your round to wait. I'm really curious to see if NiP get into that quicker pace that Astralis were trying to set immediately on that T side. I feel like it was only Astralis slowing down once they'd been bullied back by NiP. Because Astralis are capable of that, just going into the straight-up gun duels and bullying using skill. They're all so good. The depth, the talent of Astralis is so deep.
Oh, yeah. And they all seem like, you know, very humble people, but there's no way that their egos aren't just exploding after the major. They're just, like, so far ahead of everybody at a certain point. But you've got to be humble inside to consistently improve, and they seem to be keeping their form up.
That was Lekro just destroying Device, I believe, in hell, right through the window. If this was a Deagle-only game, I'm giving the edge to NiP so far.
That's interesting.
Like, they've got all those
I mean, they have
one-shots.
Lekro. You know, we've seen Lekro, what he can do.
Even Rez turned heads, but gotta be cautious. The hand cannons. These are the good ranges for that, right? That's when a CZ75 is just not going to do the trick, but a Deagle can.
No, that's when it'll let you down for sure.
But then once we get into this inner bomb site or possibly pushing towards ramp, you'd maybe hope for an automatic gun. Look, Get Right just used it to win a duel towards the site itself, and Magisk tagged up. He's already dinked. NiP are about to win this force buy.
Wow, that was kind of clinical, and they've maintained the advantage on a T side. That's not easy to do with only pistols. So, again, the folly of T side ecos is the fact that you don't have much utility to like stir rotations, but they work those picks slowly, and that was all they needed to do. Astralis is actually like on the back foot. It feels like just saving now.
This is big. I was going to say, right, we're talking best of ones, Astralis consistently winning pistol rounds. That's how you win best of ones, win both pistols. This is a shakeup.
Dude, the great part about this tournament is the fact that the vetoes were done so far in advance that, like, you get a good map, and you get teams prepared for the map if they weren't good when they did the veto, you know?
Yep, exactly it. It's like you know what to anticipate, you know exactly what you're going into. If you're the type of team that works hard and does use preparation as a key piece to your success, Blast is the event for you.
And that's certainly the hallmark of Astralis. But the problem is, like, how much stuff can you do to catch people off guard constantly?
Right.
You know, that's why every map at this point, after having 18-0, is tremendously harder than the last.
And as well, it's like, if you're 18-0 on a map like Nuke, well, how often do you think you have to go over it in practice? You know, how many times are you actually prepping for it? Whereas NiP, you know what you're expecting. You know what kind of beast lies ahead. But right now, a beast has been put to sleep. Zipek's dead on ramp. Glaive, with an element of surprise, can only get himself one kill. The scout misses from Device, and so the lower bomb site is open for business, so it seems. Magisk is still floating around. Dupree can't stop the plant because it's inside of the smoke. Very difficult position for Astralis, even if they wanted to leave. I mean, they are just being enveloped by NiP. Still, he deals some damage, so that should be the kill. Most certainly is. And now Magisk runs for the save. This is NiP tying things up at 9 apiece.
Looking good, too. That was really nice. It wasn't a great buy from Astralis, of course, so there's a small asterisk on it. But the way that they approached ramp, the one thing that was most striking about it was the fact that you realize that Astralis took ramp, I think, once the entirety of the last half. And so, at least stylistically, we're seeing two ways to approach the game. Want to see if there's a reason for that. I think that because ramp acts as kind of the middle of the map for Nuke, it's interesting in that way because it's not like an outside area where normally middle is on other maps. It's not familiarized like that, but it is the middle point between lower and upper, between wrapping heaven and going down the ramp.
Yeah, and I don't know if you mirror the sentiment, but I've actually, when the changes to the B bomb site first came out, when they removed the vent entrances into the site itself, I didn't think I was going to like that at all. I think B bomb site on Nuke has actually started to provide us some good CS, because the strong positions of being up on that catwalk are completely countered by the ramp entrance. So if you have terrorists, you know, trying to come back into the site from vent side, but then they can get that deep ramp player, you can just crack a CT side wide open.
Oh, I totally agree. I found Nuke is the most enjoyable that it's ever been in the history of CS for me, in the history of CSGO for me, because I felt like old Nuke was great and I missed some of those skill jumps, but overall in terms of like competitive play, the changes, I didn't think I would like them, and I have to say I really enjoy them.
I feel like with the new maps that we've seen coming out of Valve as well, Nuke is the one where they seem to be trying the most jarring of things.
It's true.
Like,
Removing the hut window.
The crazy
the
catwalk.
iconic hut window.
No hut window. A catwalk that wraps an entire building. Like, obviously it's been removed since, so they've changed their mind. But just the fact that they included that. Look at the Train remake. What was different? Nothing was done in Dust. Even Inferno, it was more so visual elements and some slight changes on Banana. But Nuke is the map that they fundamentally play around with.
It's true. Yeah, I mean the catwalk was what you know. What are you thinking? But apart from that, they've still like even I don't know. Hut window is just something that's just always it's just crazy to think about moving it, and it has made it just like a much cleaner experience. I feel like it's changed the 1v1s a little bit, less dynamic on upper. You know, when you're trying to get in, you also lose one of the best skill jumps, which is just like falling off the hut into the window, which is super fun to do. But
Free's doing enough damage here. I mean, they are really playing against time. 15 seconds left over. Astralis trying to choke them out, but not at this distance. Eventually, bomb does get planted. It got itself to the site just in the nick of time. I was getting flashbacks to the round where Lekro actually, I mean the second round of this T side, where they played outside nice and slow. They eventually found an over-facing Astralis. They cracked open their openings, and they walked away with a round. Now this is obviously them with an advantage, and it comes at some costs. Magisk upgrading to an M4, losing 2 bodies in the process. But NiP now take the lead.
for the first time in the whole match.
Yes, sir. And that's going to put them on, I believe, 3 rounds. So not yet on fire, but starting this half strong.
And although they are down on pistols, on 2 pistols, they at least won the eco in this half. So that really, you know, obviously mitigates the damage from the pistol, leaving Astralis with only the 1 round and not the easy ones to follow. So great scenes here. This is definitely where people start to get excited if you're in the NiP camp. And again, I think we saw Cold Zero on the desk talking to Lurpus and Moses and talking about how he felt like NiP were in really good form. He didn't say like the best form ever or whatever, but he said like when they were playing them at the major, playing scrims and everything like that, and when they obviously had that extremely tenuous bout to get into top 8, it came close. It was on a knife's edge. So now NiP going toe to toe in a lot of games with top teams right now, and we can see why.
Fast clash, I love this. Just an absolute and immediate change of pace, but it's actually a bit of a ruse. It's called all of the rotations towards this A site, when in reality, NiP have prioritized B. They've chucked the bomb downwards. They've worked their way into the control room, and because they did this so quickly, you don't see the rotation in place for Astralis. It's very frantic, separate 1v1s, and while Astralis have done a good enough job to keep this 2v2, it has been incredibly close, as was that kill both ways. Rez and Zipex lucky to be alive, both of which have fallen their teammates. But Magisk can't find this bomb. However, he takes the kill, and that's most important. First and foremost, a tap could anticipate this peak. Rez gonna go for it, and now it's confirmed. He's up in control. Magisk needs to flush him out. He'll charge, and he will go down. It's 11-9. And NiP just keep moving forward.
Damn, Matt just went to put the Juggernaut play right there at the end, just opening the control doors. Usually, you know, go back, tap the bomb, see if they peep in the window, you have one more chance to defuse. Instead, he's like, I'm going to do a play that you'd never expect. That's actually the most simple thing. And technically, if you were fully ready for this, you might be in a position to just totally evacuate the window and get away. But he actually caught Rez on the stairs. There was a small chance there. He still brought it back, but he couldn't do it. NiP looked super good in that round. That was very nicely done. I think they're especially doing a good job of avoiding Zipnix, who in this map has been just like getting kills even on rounds that they lose, whether it be catching the lurkers or making the retakes pretty close. So I think if they're avoiding him throughout the round, he can still get those 2 kills, and they're not exit frags, but they're not going to help Astralis win at that point. And I'm not sure if that was something that NiP have talked about, but definitely see Zipex is almost left alive always at the end of the round.
I feel like this is new. Device on the secret stairs.
New in this map, maybe?
In this, yeah, exactly. We haven't seen this out of him yet. I think he's been afforded a lot of space, and with an AWP as well, it's going to be very difficult to get him out. You could use a Molotov, chuck it over, sure, that would burn him back. But at the same time, you've already been cut down into the 5v2. This is excellent from Astralis. Looks like they'll be gunning for the double digits. Unless they do throw the wild card, but nope, Lekro loses his teammate, and despite his best efforts, should never have a chance. That's 2. 3 to go. If he had full health, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt, Launders, but
4 rounds in a row, Connor, right? So this is expensive for Astralis to lose any players at this point. They just won one. Or they will win one, sorry.
See if he takes time, but nope, he can't. Burnt out. They had wind as to where he was, and they were correct in assuming so. Free guns too, the AK is in hand, the op still stands, and Astralis 1 round away.
That was a lot nicer. Obviously, that was looking like NiP's hold versus Astralis in the first half when they decided to go outside. So that was a very clean victory overall. Lekro doing some damage at the end, but it wasn't quite enough. And now they have actually got to save. I didn't see this coming. I didn't think that they would be so broke off of that 1 kill. Maybe they just wanted to make sure that they have a solid buy next round, and I can definitely see the appeal of that. So NiP asking for 11-11, but any and all damage matters. The maximum. Device going back up to secret. And we all know the way that people play this spot. It's pretty simple. I mean, the first day you would learn how you would want to fall back is pretty much how the best operators in the world do it, from the stairs, and then back to the second set of stairs, and following into the B site.
I feel like, you know, the secret stairs with all of those fallbacks, there must be 4 or 5 separate angles that you can fall back to, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
take a shot every time. It's so reminiscent of like long A on cobblestone. Just one of those places where a very consistent AWP player can shut down a push single-handedly because he always has enough time to fall back in between shots.
Yeah.
And unless all 5 terrorists time their push perfectly, whoa, get it in, Glaive. Not the second. The mag goes dry because of his inability of getting that first clean kill. Device, however, still up close. And he knows they're in there. But he misses his shot. It'll be all right. They've got them boxed in. A couple of caged beasts. But caged beasts with low HP. A parting gift.
Yeah, third one to the MVP team of Deagle players on this server right now, on NiP specifically. Everybody pulling their weight above 12 kills or above. That's pretty nice. I mean, as for Astralis right now on the CT side, no, Magus is the one just a little bit behind, but overall the kill counts are high. That's because this game is close as hell. With 23 rounds, we're moving into the latter portion of everything. Like everything can be forgotten at this point. It's going to be these rounds that they remember as make or breaks for why this map went the way it did. You know, all of the flubs in the past don't actually matter anymore, and it won't matter to the fans, the teams, or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, we're looking at, you know, 27 to 30 rounds in this matchup. So just a testament as to how close NiP have made this. Again, the last time we saw any team take Astralis.
So they throw their outside setup. They are doing something similar to what Astralis are doing, which was just to try to bait out free nades. You know, their hub player without a Molotov is something that they can't use for an upper rush. So for the cost of $600, a couple of smokes, it maybe eased it up for them to go upstairs.
Any Molotovs counter Magic's spot? No. This is a position that obviously GetRight was playing in so consistently, but Magic does still get cleared from Rez. Dupree a little delayed, but successful nonetheless. A 4 versus 2 is established until Dennis clears this outer player. Still looks like they want to come in on A, and unfortunately for Dennis, Glaive shut down Lekro. That was the bomb, and all 5 of the deaths here for NiP happen on this A site.
They couldn't find the door.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem, right?
Yeah, I'd definitely like to, at this point, make every round epic and explain why it's epic, but that was one where, and partially because I guess the smoke was good, that landed inside the hut, but they just couldn't make their way out, and the spacing was, look at that.
Yeah, caught the corner.
That was a great entry from Rez. He does his job. That's what we were talking about with the protocols on executing on upper before, where somebody looks at heaven. In that situation, it's Rez does that right away, but his teammate's supposed to come out behind him and clear anyone back sight.
Right.
And he had the time to do it, but he couldn't get out the door. You've got to find the hole, Connor.
You have to. And worst comes to worst, ask for help. But there was 2 of them stuck there, so there was no chance to get out. First kill trickles in, Device dropping Dennis, and he sees the further pressure that's happening outside. We've got Glaive to help out towards the secret stairs, and even while his life has been taken from him, the M4 as well, they're still sitting pretty. Maybe Rez does get the best of Device. He could find his back turned. I haven't seen a knife yet at Istanbul.
That's true.
Come on.
There's an opening. Didn't even think about it.
I like that.
I don't blame him.
I like that. You're not playing games at 11-12.
You thought Counter-Strike was a game, you thought wrong, sir.
It's a lifestyle. Uh-oh. Lekro not going to be afforded any more space inside of Mini. Zipex in a corner of a position. It's going to walk out to the door, and Rez just can't get the best of him. So now Lekro has to do it all. 35 seconds, really his biggest enemy. All right. I mean, he has the bomb now. He's got a gun. He could actually burst into the A site. Hell, he could even go down ramp towards B. He needs to clear beneath. Magic's looking upwards. That's an easy frag. But it comes down to choosing your corners. Definitely. Right? Where do you take your duel?
Yeah, there's definitely a big advantage for, especially when you know there's only one person to be like on the A site and you can stand anywhere to watch someone coming in heaven. It's much harder for them because they've just got this flat bar that is the lip of heaven that they can peer over from like 5 different spots, whereas you could be in hundreds. So tough spot to be in for NiP. Seem to almost make it competitive at the end of that, but now Astralis are starting to peel away just a little bit. Oh man, I don't know. No, part of me is I'm rooting for both teams because it's for Astralis. It's 19-0, and again, every map gets dramatically harder to win.
Yeah,
you know, and you just want to see how far can they really take this.
Yep.
But NiP look solid, have won some rounds, have lost both pistols, and are still technically in this game and could make it 18-1. Like, it's almost just as good of a storyline for them to be like they're the ones who broke.
And how nice would that be? What a throwback. NiP back on top when it comes to Nuke. Once were those days. Glaive already just flies in through Squeaky Door. Get Right wants nothing to do with him. We got flashbangs every which way, and Get Right jumps across. An immediate rotation downwards from Glaive. I feel like that just kind of assumes that now they have lobby control, because you can see, of course, Zipex coming in from ramp, the flank. He has this cleared. So Outer has to be possessed by NiP if they have anything at all, but what they don't have is kills. They've been shut down on the forefront. And nobody else looks to overface here from Astralis. Wow, the kill feed just full.
Pulled apart
of Astralis.
Limb from limb. What can you say? dupreeh, Stalwart in the mini position. They are just like hitting all of his shots. Look at that. Just going for the last tap as well. And that marks the time in the match where Astralis have finally caught fire. And this is...
And how appropriate as well.
What a time to do it, yeah.
I mean, it's a full gun round from NiP. Astralis don't lose a single player in the process. If 5 wins in a row wasn't enough to get on fire, then doing it in that fashion, you know, we should have an explosion and then flames.
Sure. Yeah, I want to see more pyrotechnics.
Yeah, fireworks. Fireworks is what we've had at times in this map, but things are starting to go a little quiet. No longer are the celebrations and high hopes of NiP as obvious, but they are still well equipped. In this round, most notably, looking to deny 15.
There's a lot of switching going on in the Squeaky Door, and dupreeh in another tenuous moment. Again, he can't see these guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke play outside from NiP early as well, so that's why we still have the attention of Astralis turned in this direction. Magisk allocated towards Hut, and dupreeh on Squeaky Door. Corner is good for the frags. That is 4 crisp headshots, and make it a 5th. 15 rounds for Astralis in this fashion. They are sick of your attempts, NiP. They want this map done.
That was absolutely unreal. Another couple of crisp kills, another rifle round in the books. dupreeh right in the front of the action. You know, getting these two, and just like hitting that first bullet headshot just means that you have 100 HP for your next fight. You know when it's coming, and you're like warmed up, you're ready, and you're confident, you feel good, you know?
Yep. Headshots, headshots, and more headshots. That's what's attempted here on the A site exit, but they find 0 footing. Very aggressive from Zipex at this point. He's already trying to get himself in from ramp, but seeing as there's an outer duel, he may fall back. Doesn't have to, in fact. Glaive reveals himself from beneath the silo.
Yeah, they left him kind of out on his own there, and Glaive is still pushed up, but because they have that 5-on-4, he feels like he can be a little bit more lax about the way that he plays this, and that Molotov doing damage is going to give a lot of info to Rez, and Rez, he didn't look tickled at all. I mean, I'm sure he was mad inside about getting dinked through that box. But this could be one of their last chances to win. And Zipix, of course, from the ramp now in the later stages of the game, coming back into the fold.
Yeah, I feel like 12 of the last 12 kills from Astralis have been all headshots. I mean, finally that trend is broken, but the message is still clear. Astralis are the best team